All efforts have been made to ensure the information presented is accurate at the time of recording. Any references made to implied functions remains at the discretion of Broadcom and can change at any time. Welcome, my name is Andrew Firth from the VCF Technical Marketing team. Here, I'm going to show you through the new features and functionality that's been added into VMware Cloud Foundation 9. We'll discuss how VCF 9 reduces complexity through deployment, how it simplifies day 2 operations and management, and how it streamlines the implementation of self-service IaaS as part of modernizing infrastructure. We'll also explore how VCF 9 accelerates development cycles through infrastructure that is easy to consume and update for Kubernetes and private AI. And lastly, we'll also touch on how, as a platform, VCF delivers security and resiliency as part of the full stack, which is crucial to maintaining high availability, data protection, security and compliance across your VCF private cloud deployment. Let's first start with Modernize Infrastructure. VCF 9 is a major release which includes a number of significant new capabilities and a much more integrated experience for private cloud administrators. The VMware Cloud Foundation installer appliance, known as the VCF installer, is new to VCF 9 and introduces a more flexible set of workflows to deploying VMware Cloud Foundation to suit an extended set of use cases and topology types. The VCF installer can be used to deploy a new VCF fleet. Or, for customers with multiple environments, they can choose to deploy another VCF instance into an existing VCF fleet. Each VCF instance is deployed using vSphere and vCenter, NSX, VCF operations, and VCF automation. Configuring your VCF environment for vSAN delivers the full SDDC stack. The VCF installer appliance also contains inbuilt workflows to converge, in other words, reuse, an existing vCenter deployment. That is, a non-VCF deployment. We converge this to a VCF management cluster. When performing a conversion, the VCF installer is to be deployed into the same cluster as the residing vCenter server appliance. We support existing vCenter clusters configured for vSAN or existing clusters configured with external storage. Once converged, the environment then becomes a fully functioning new VCF instance, which is then managed, scaled, and lifecycle managed as VCF. This isn't all the VCF installer can do. The VCF installer workflow also provides options to converge an existing VCF operations instance and/or an existing VCF automation instance. The VCF installer appliance provides an easier, quicker, and more repeatable set of workflows for our customers to get on the pathway to VCF. Let's take a closer look at the VCF installer appliance. The VCF installer appliance replaces the Cloud Builder appliance and further streamlines the deployment of VMware Cloud Foundation or VMware vSphere Foundation. It contains a UI-driven workflow and no longer requires the use of the deployment parameters workbook. The VCF installer also includes inbuilt options to converge and import existing vCenter, VCF operations, and VCF automation instances without the need for VCF import scripts. Prior releases of Cloud Foundation have required ARIA operations and ARIA automation to be installed and lifecycle managed as separate day 2 operations. From VCF 9, the VCF installer appliance is used to deploy the full VCF stack, comprising of compute, storage, networking, operations, and self-service automation, and VCF operations is used to lifecycle the full stack. Admins can choose to initially deploy VCF using inbuilt workflows. The VCF installer can also generate a JSON which can be reused after uploading, reviewing, and validating from the wizard-driven UI. The VCF installer appliance provides a flexible set of options which help to further simplify the deployment of an end-to-end private cloud environment. Inbuilt into this new and very lightweight VCF installer appliance are a set of enhanced deployment workflows and many new configuration options. With VCF 9, the user first connects to the Broadcom support portal to download the software binaries by connecting to a depot. The software binaries are not included in the VCF installer appliance. The customer then has the option to use the online depot, or they can configure their own private offline depot. With an offline depot, the software binaries only need to be downloaded once, which is very handy when managing multiple VCF instances. Once the software binaries have been downloaded, the appliance can be used to deploy VCF or VVF. Deployment can be driven using the inbuilt deployment wizard, or the user can generate a reusable JSON spec, which can be uploaded, reviewed, and validated from the UI. A JSON spec can also be uploaded and edited in the wizard. VCF introduces a new construct of VCF fleets. A VCF instance can be deployed as part of a new VCF fleet or to an existing VCF fleet. A VCF fleet may consist of multiple VCF deployments, which can leverage common VCF operations and VCF automation instances. The VCF installer is used to initially configure the management cluster, which can be deployed in one of two ways. New components that can be deployed, which include VM appliances for vCenter Server, NSX, VCF operations, and VCF automation. Or existing appliances for vCenter Server and or VCF operations and or VCF automation can be used. When choosing to reuse an existing vCenter server, the VCF installer will converge an existing vSphere or vSphere with vSAN cluster to a VCF management cluster. The VCF installer will deploy NSX as part of the conversion process. The VM appliances for the new VCF operations, VCF automation, and NSX instances can be deployed using one of two models. The first model is a simple model, so this will deploy a single node appliance for each component that needs to be installed. The second model is a high availability model, so when deployed with high availability, 3 NSX manager nodes, 3 VCF operations nodes, and 3 VCF automation nodes are deployed. From VCF 9, private cloud operations and management is performed using the VCF operations console. VCF Operations provides cloud administrators with a unified and feature-rich operations experience, which spans compute, storage, networking, fleet management, and lifecycle management. VCF Ops for VCF 9 also includes inbuilt workflows supporting an additional 2 VCF deployment pathways. You can use VCF Operations to create a new workload domain, or VCF operations can be used to import additional or existing VCF deployments into an existing VCF instance. And this can be used for centralized management and operations. In this instance, each vCenter deployment is imported into the VCF inventory as a workload domain. VCF operations will be discussed in more detail in later sections of this presentation. Let's take a closer look at the options available within VCF operations to centralize management of external vCenter deployments. VCF operations makes it easy to add existing vSphere, vSAN, and NSX infrastructure into an existing VCF instance. VCF operations provides guided workflows for importing pre-existing vSphere infrastructure into a VCF instance as workload domains. The ability to import pre-existing infrastructure into VCF expedites the path to VCF by allowing customers to leverage existing investments while simultaneously reducing costs. In addition, with this capability, customers no longer need to be concerned with having to migrate existing workloads from existing infrastructure to VCF. When importing a vCenter deployment into a VCF instance, all clusters within the vCenter server are imported and configured as part of the workload domain. vSphere clusters configured with or without vSAN, vSphere clusters configured with or without NSX, and any combination of those three software components can be used when importing a vSphere cluster to an existing VCF instance from VCF operations. NSX is deployed as part of the conversion process if it is not already present. Scaling private cloud infrastructure is easy in VCF 9. Utilize familiar workflows within the vSphere client to commission new ESX hosts into the global inventory. New hosts can be commissioned individually or in bulk using FQDN. Hosts can then be commissioned into predefined network pools for vMotion and storage. Admins can select to commission hosts for a number of different storage types: vSAN, NFS, and VMFS on Fibre Channel. Each host is validated by confirming their fingerprint. Commission hosts will then be visible as unassigned hosts in the global inventory and can be used to create new clusters or scale existing clusters. Multiple hosts and cluster deployment and scaling operations can be performed in parallel to save time. Each cluster is deployed using a vSphere Lifecycle Manager image. VCF operations contains streamlined workflows to create new workload domains. Each workload domain can be configured using its own software-defined infrastructure, which allows them to be individually managed, scaled, lifecycle managed, patched, and upgraded independently. Admins can continue using SCDC Manager for any day-end workflows.